Long before the world knew empires, before maps or language, something was already watching. From the sands of Egypt to the temples of the Andes, every civilization left behind stories, not just of kings and gods, but of shadows that still move, whispers that still echo, and spirits that never found rest. These aren't legends. These are real, documented hauntings tied to secret ruins, ancient tombs, and forgotten rituals. And tonight, you'll walk with them. This is the true ghost history of the ancient world. Subscribe now and enter if you dare. 1. The ghost of Pliny the Younger. Athens. In the heart of ancient Athens, Pliny the Younger recounted a tale that still echoes through time. A gaunt, spectral figure with rattling chains haunted a philosopher's house night after night. The apparition would appear, gesture silently, then vanish into the shadows. Pliny instructed the spot to be excavated, and bones chained in iron were discovered. After the remains were buried with ritual, the haunting stopped, or so they claimed. But some say the spirit never truly left the soil of Athens. 2. The Roman specter of Athenodorus. Athenodorus, the Stoic philosopher, believed in reason over superstition until he met the ghost. He rented a house known for unexplainable horrors, determined to disprove the legend. That night, a pale, silent figure appeared, beckoning him toward the courtyard. Athenodorus marked the spot where it vanished, and the next day, a buried skeleton was unearthed. His account spread through Rome as proof that even reason can be humbled by the unseen. But what did the ghost really want, and why did it choose him? 3. The Egyptian ghost of Khonsmehab carved into ancient papyrus. One of the earliest ghost stories belongs to Khonsmehab, a priest of Thebes. He tells of encountering a tortured soul, a spirit denied peace, who speaks from beyond. The ghost pleads for a proper burial, crying out from a neglected grave in the desert winds. Khonsmehab records every word, treating it not as superstition, but divine message. Was this a tale of compassion or a warning from something older than gods? The scroll survives, but no one knows what happened to the ghost's remains. 4. The Babylonian ghost tablet of Uruk. Among the ruins of Uruk, archaeologists found a clay tablet etched with strange verses. It spoke of a ghost, a man with hollow eyes, who wandered through walls, wailing for justice. The tablet describes rituals to summon or banish him with terrifying precision. Scholars believe it's one of the earliest guides to spiritual warfare, but the tablet is damaged, half its symbols lost to time or hidden on purpose. Some whisper the missing piece was never meant to be found. 5. The haunted pyramid of Unas. Deep in the pyramid of Unas, carved spells speak to the dead in languages older than time. Visitors report whispers in pitch-black corridors, like voices reading sacred texts. One archaeologist claimed to hear his own name in the dark and left the site forever. Strange lights and chills plagued the inner sanctum where the king's soul was meant to ascend. Is the pyramid fulfilling its ancient purpose, or has something awakened beneath? No camera has ever captured what happens when the final door seals behind you. 6. The Saqqara apparition. Beneath the sands of Saqqara, ancient tombs stretch endlessly into the earth, many untouched for millennia. Local workers whisper of a figure cloaked in linen robes, gliding silently past sealed doorways. It appears only at dusk, then fades near the tomb of an unknown noble. Cameras glitch, compasses spin, and shadows move where no person walks. Some say it is the soul of a forgotten priest, guarding secrets too sacred to unveil. And others claim Saqqara itself is a threshold, not just to death, but something darker. 7. The Wailing Woman of Luxor. In the moonlit ruins of Luxor, tourists have reported an eerie cry, a woman's scream that echoes without source. It always comes from the same ruined chamber where an unknown female mummy was once found. Her identity was never uncovered, and her sarcophagus was removed and lost in transit. Now, those who enter that space alone feel watched, or followed by something cold and grieving. Locals avoid the area at night, calling her the mourner of the sands. Was she royalty, a cursed lover, or something else entirely? 8. The spirit of Nebita. Theban tomb. In a tomb nestled deep within the cliffs of Thebes lies the resting place of Nebita, a daughter of Akhenaten. Her body was never recovered, only her name etched in a forgotten chamber. Yet strange lights flicker near her symbolic tomb, and visitors hear footsteps on stone when no one's there. Some claim to see a glowing female figure standing silently at the entrance, vanishing when approached. Was her soul denied rest because her remains were lost to time? Or is she watching over something still buried beneath the surface? 9. The ghost of Tiberius. The Roman Emperor Tiberius was known for cruelty and paranoia, and his death brought no peace. On the island of Capri, where he ruled in isolation, guests report hearing screams near the cliff's edge. Several guards flung enemies from those very rocks, and perhaps Tiberius hears them still. Flickering shadows roam the village Ovis, and some claim to have seen a figure in imperial robes. His marble busts shatter on their own, and birds avoid the ancient tower. Has the tyrant returned to the scene of his final regrets? 10. The screaming mummy of unknown Prince Valley of the Kings. In the silent crypts of the Valley of the Kings lies a mummy whose mouth is frozen in a scream. His wrappings are crude, his burial rushed, unlike the ornate care given to royals. Experts believe he may have been buried alive or cursed in death. Strange occurrences plague the chamber, unexplained drafts, disembodied voices, and a smell of burning incense. The mummy was never named, never claimed by history, but his face still screams from the shadows, as if the agony never ended. 11. The Ashkelon specter beneath the ruins of ancient Ashkelon. Archaeologists unearthed hundreds of infant skeletons buried in jars. Ever since, guards have reported soft crying in the night, despite the silence of the desert. One worker claimed to see a pale childlike figure standing motionless near the excavation trench. Historians suggest these were ritual sacrifices, forgotten victims of a cult long erased. But why do their voices still echo, thousands of years later? Some believe the ground itself remembers and mourns. 12. The spirit of Delphi Temple in the shadows of Mount Parnassus. The oracle of Delphi once inhaled sacred fumes and spoke for the gods. Now, visitors to the ancient temple report strange dizziness, whispers, and flickers of light in the ruins. A female voice is sometimes heard softly humming from beneath the earth. Could the priestesses have left something behind, something not of this world? One researcher claimed the cave breathed as if alive. Perhaps the oracle never stopped speaking, only changed who she speaks through. 13. The Mycenaean ghost of Agamemnon's tomb. Agamemnon, king of legends, was murdered by his wife upon returning from Troy. His burial site in Mycenae is cold and eerily silent, yet tourists feel unseen eyes following them. Some see a tall figure cloaked in bronze shadows, standing where the throne once was. The stones hum with a strange vibration at dusk, and metal tools often go missing. They say vengeance echoes louder than history, and the king still waits for justice beneath the Lion Gate. 14. The haunted catacombs of Alexandria. Underneath the vibrant city of Alexandria lies a labyrinth of catacombs, miles of tombs, carved into rock. Inside, the air turns thick, lights flicker, and disoriented visitors report hearing footsteps behind them. One explorer swore he heard chanting in Greek and saw a robed figure holding a torch. When he turned, it was gone, and he was alone, far from the entrance. The catacombs were once sealed by force, their purpose unclear. Perhaps not everything buried was meant to be disturbed. 15. The Wailing Priest of Karnak. The Temple of Karnak in Luxor is one of Egypt's holiest ruins, but something still lingers in its inner court. A priest in white robes has been seen pacing under the columns, mouthing prayers no one understands. He appears when the wind dies down, then vanishes into the shadows of the great pillars. Legends say a priest was punished here for betraying his oath during a sacred eclipse. His spirit was bound to the temple, doomed to repeat his penance forever. Those who interrupt him report strange dreams, and a voice calling their name. 16. The apparition of Akhenaten's court in the ruins of Amarna. Whispers drift through the wind, soft, almost like conversations frozen in time. Akhenaten's controversial reign, where gods were abolished and a new sun deity rose, ended in mystery and silence. Visitors speak of translucent figures in royal robes seen through shattered doorways at dusk. One researcher swore he saw a man with elongated features bowing before an altar. That no longer exists. Are these spirits loyal to the pharaoh, or trapped by the gods he defied? Whatever haunts Amarna, it moves in shadows of forgotten worship. 17. The whispering ghost of King Tut's tomb. Since the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb, those involved have suffered a strange sequence of untimely deaths. Inside the burial chamber, some visitors hear faint whispering behind the walls, though the air is still. Electronic devices fail, and cold spots appear near the golden sarcophagus. A curse? Or something far more personal, guarding what was never meant to be seen. Even those who dismiss it feel unnerved by the heavy silence within the tomb, as if a young king is still watching from behind painted eyes. 18. The Haunted Scroll of Hunnifer. The Papyrus of Hunnifer, one of the most intact books of the dead, describes the soul's perilous journey after death. But the original scroll, housed in a quiet museum room, has a strange reputation. Guards say the room is colder than the rest of the building, even in summer. Some claim they've heard ancient Egyptian recitations echo softly when the room is empty. Is it a relic of religious memory, or does the scroll still guide someone through their afterlife? The ink may have dried, but the path it describes might remain open. 19. The specter of the Library of Alexandria. When the Library of Alexandria burned, centuries of knowledge vanished, but perhaps not all was lost. In late hours, museum staff report a cloaked figure browsing empty display cases as if still searching. A cold wind follows its presence, and ancient texts have been found misfiled or misplaced without explanation. Some say it's the ghost of a scholar who died clutching a forbidden scroll, desperate to preserve it. If knowledge is power, what happens to a soul that dies knowing too much? And what secrets still burn behind those ancient eyes? 20. The white ghost of Ephesus. In the marble ruins of Ephesus, tourists speak of a woman in white gliding silently across the ancient road. She appears near the Celsus Library, her face veiled, her steps rhythmic and slow. Some believe she's a Roman noblewoman who was murdered after her lover's betrayal. Others think she's the guardian of lost texts buried beneath the stone. Whatever the truth, when she appears, even birds go quiet, and her presence leaves the scent of burned parchment, lingering in the air. 1. The Roman legionnaire of York. Deep beneath York lies the buried Roman road, and some say soldiers still march it. Workers restoring a cellar once saw shadowed figures pass waist deep through the stone floor. When archaeologists measured the road, it matched the exact height where the ghosts had appeared. Dressed in faded armor with silent footsteps, they vanish into walls that were once open fields. It is said they don't know they were dead, only that their duty is unfinished. And York, beneath its quiet streets, still echoes with the rhythm of Rome. 22. The Bangar Fort. Ghost. India in Raja's hand. The ruined Bangar Fort is legally off limits after sunset, a law even locals won't break. Legends tell of a sorcerer who cursed the fort. After a failed love spell, dooming it to ruin, visitors report shadows moving along the collapsed palace walls, whispers in Sanskrit, and sudden temperature drops. Many claim to hear footsteps in locked rooms, and phones die instantly inside the gates. No one who has stayed overnight has come back the same. Perhaps some doors, once open, cannot be closed again. 23. The haunting of the Herculaneum baths preserved by volcanic ash. The baths of Herculaneum remain hauntingly intact, almost too intact. Tourists feel washed in the steamy, painted chambers, and guides report sudden, unnatural chills. One archaeologist claimed to hear laughter echoing in the empty frigidarium, followed by a whisper. In Latin, some believe the souls of bathers vaporized instantly when Vesuvius erupted. Their spirits trapped mid-moment. Every mosaic and pool remains frozen in time, and maybe, so do those who once bathed there. 24. The Villa dei Vecchi. Ghost. Known as Italy's House of Witches, Villa dei Vecchi sits abandoned in the mountains, its beauty faded into decay. Legend says the owner returned one night to find his wife murdered and daughter missing, her fate unknown. Since then, piano music plays at night despite the instrument being long gone. A woman in white is seen weeping on the balcony before vanishing in the fog. The house breathes with sorrow, every brick steeped in grief. And the melody? It never repeats, as if composed by a soul still searching. 5. The Hauska Castle apparition. Built to seal a gateway to hell, Hauska Castle in the Czech Republic has no foundation, just a pit of darkness. Locals claimed winged beasts once flew out from the hole, and monks were brought to pray over it. Today, shadows crawl up the chapel walls during storms, and strange howls rise from beneath the floor. Guests report seeing a tall figure with no face standing near the sealed trapdoor. Was the castle a defense against man, or something beneath him? And what still stirs in the pit no light touches? 26. The shadow in the oracle chamber. Sicily. Hidden beneath the ruins of ancient Sicily lies a sacred oracle chamber carved into volcanic rock. Even today, strange sounds ripple through the narrow tunnel, soft chanting, like echoes from a forgotten rite. Visitors report seeing a tall, hooded shadow standing at the chamber's end, unmoving and silent. Some believe it's the spirit of the last priest, sacrificed when the temple fell to Roman siege. Cameras fail, voices distort, time feels disjointed inside the chamber, and those who stayed too long claim to dream of words they never learned. 27. The specter of Hadrian's Villa. In the sprawling ruins of Tivoli, Hadrian's Villa whispers with opulence and secrets. A lone figure in imperial robes is often seen wandering the collapsed theater at twilight. Guards who approach find no one, only the scent of incense and crushed laurel leaves. Historians speculate Hadrian performed private rituals in hidden chambers, rites meant to defy death. Now the emperor walks alone, seeking an empire that no longer remembers him. But the marble remembers, and so do the shadows. 28. The whispering walls of Pompeii, buried in ash for centuries. Pompeii still holds echoes of that final day. But some visitors hear more than silence. They hear whispers in Latin, soft and urgent. Inside the house of the tragic poet, murals shift subtly when no one is looking. A woman's scream has been heard at sunset, followed by the scent of burning wood. Is it trauma imprinted in stone? Or do the voices of the buried still seek rescue? Every fresco is a memory, still breathing. 9. The ghost of the Dendera Temple. Dendera's Temple of Hathor holds deep chambers that once mapped the stars and lit strange lights. Tourists claim to see glowing orbs moving along the ceiling, and ancient footsteps echo behind them. One researcher fainted near the crypt and described a vision of a priestess with burning eyes. The temple was abandoned with care, as if something sacred and dangerous was sealed within. Now it stirs again beneath the gaze of the goddess. As light returns to places that should remain dark. 30. The phantoms of Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest temple. Göbekli Tepe is a riddle carved in stone, older than cities, older than writing. Night guards report figures moving between the T-shaped monoliths, human-shaped but too tall, too still. One drone captured a heat signature that vanished in real time, leaving no trace on the ground. Some say the builders summoned beings not meant to remain in this world. Or perhaps they never truly left. What lingers there predates history and watches in silence. 31. The shifting spirit of Persepolis in the desolate heart of Persia's ancient capital. Persepolis, something still walks among the shattered columns. Witnesses describe a cloaked figure that appears in different places seconds apart, always just out of reach. Some believe it as the restless soul of a royal guard who failed to protect the throne from Alexander's conquest. Others claim it's the spirit of Darius himself, still wandering the palace he watched burn. Even in ruins, Persepolis pulses with energy, as if history refuses to rest. And in the flicker of torchlight, the past reshapes itself before your eyes. 32. The Minoan priestess of Knossos, the palace of labyrinthine corridors and Bulgad legends, holds secrets deeper than myth. Tourists have seen a woman in long robes, adorned in gold, moving between columns, then vanishing mid-step. Some say she's a priestess sacrificed during the fall of the Minoan Empire, her rituals interrupted by disaster. She appears most often near the throne room, where the air suddenly thickens and silence grows heavy. Did she call something forth that should never have been awakened? Now she remains, half prayer, half warning. 33. The fire wraith of Carthage after Rome razed. Carthage, salt was sown into its soil, but something darker may have remained. Locals speak of a flaming apparition rising from the earth on certain nights, howling in a language no one knows. It's seen near where children were once sacrificed to appease the gods of war and fire. The specter dances, wails, and then vanishes into scorched earth that never cools. Was it a deity denied or a soul betrayed? Even ashes can haunt, and Carthage still burns in the dark. 34. The tomb apparition of Queen Hatshepsut. Deep in the Valley of the Kings lies the tomb of Egypt. As most powerful female pharaoh, a ruler erased by time, strange lights have been seen flickering inside her sealed chamber, and multiple guards have reported a veiled woman pacing the threshold. Her face is hidden, her posture regal, her presence overwhelming, and when approached, she vanishes into a gust of dry wind. Archaeologists whisper that Hatshepsut never forgave the empire that tried to delete her. Now her spirit watches over what remains of her name, and in death, she holds more power than she ever did in life. 35. The specter of the Hanging Gardens. The legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon, their location still unconfirmed, remain a riddle of beauty and mystery. But in the heart of Iraq, shepherds have reported seeing floating terraces at dawn, with figures strolling silently through mist and vines. One soldier claimed to hear music in the distance, followed by the outline of a robed king on a balcony. Is it memory, mirage, or does the garden bloom only for the dead? Some places aren't lost, they're hidden, waiting for those who still believe. 36. The moaning ghost of Jericho. Jericho, one of the oldest cities on earth, carries echoes of war, conquest, and collapsed walls. Night visitors near the ancient mound report low moaning sounds, like breath through broken reeds. Some believe it as the voice of a mother crushed beneath her home as Joshua's army advanced. Others claim to see faint silhouettes pacing the stone steps, mourning something too ancient to name. No one knows where the sound begins, only that it always ends behind you. And Jericho weeps, even when no one is listening. 37. The weeping woman of Ur. Beneath the dusty ruins of Ur, home of Abraham and Sumerian kings, A woman's cry is sometimes heard at dusk. Her figure, cloaked in veil, appears near the ziggurat, hands clutching something invisible to the eye. She is said to be a forgotten priestess, punished for warning her people of a coming flood. Some claim the soil remains wet where she walks, though no rain has fallen in days. Her sorrow is timeless, buried beneath history's triumphs, and her grief is the first language of the earth. 38. The Watcher of Stonehenge. When night falls over Stonehenge, one shadow never moves, even when the others vanish with the moonlight. This watcher appears as a tall, slender figure at the westernmost stone, facing inward as if guarding a secret. Visitors report a strange pressure in the chest near its position, followed by an urge to step back. Druids believe some spirits were bound to stone by ritual, eternal sentinels of the sacred. The watcher does not speak, does not blink, does not leave, and if you stare long enough, it feels like it's breathing. 39. The echo spirit of Machu Picchu. High in the Andes, the lost city of Machu Picchu rises from the clouds, still as pristine as when it was abandoned. But in the Temple of the Sun, some have heard a child's voice calling from the sacred chamber. Recordings captured soft footsteps and whispered Quechua prayers where no one was present. It's said that when the Incas vanished, they left behind more than ruins. They left guardians. Now the stones sing back to those who disturbed them, echoes that remember and warn. 40. The temple ghost of Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza's temple of Kukulkan, known for its serpent shadow at equinox, holds deeper shadows within. At midnight, guards have seen a spectral figure walking the steep steps, vanishing in the moonlight. Some believe it is the soul of a sacrificed warrior, reliving his ascent toward death in endless loops. Others hear flutes playing underground. Beneath the cenote, where offerings once sank to the gods, the temple still listens, still watches, still whispers. And the blood it drank, it never forgets. 41. The phantom warrior of Angkor Wat. Deep within the jungle-wrapped towers of Angkor Wat, a spectral warrior roams at dawn. Tourists have spotted him guarding doorways, unmoving, eyes fixed on something unseen. Locals say he was betrayed by his own soldiers and now guards the temple for eternity. His armor glints without sunlight, and his steps leave no sound. Some believe he's waiting for a battle that never ended, and when you blink, he's gone. 42. The Sumerian haunting of Eridu. Eridu, the first city ever built, lies buried beneath the dust of southern Iraq. Archaeologists reported shadows shifting in closed tents and tools mysteriously moved overnight. Ancient tablets spoke of keepers of the threshold, spirits between gods and men. Some now whisper that the boundary was disturbed during the dig. Eridu isn't just old, it's sacred, and some beginnings never end. 43. The spirit of the Dead Sea Scroll cave. In a remote cave near Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were hidden, strange lights have been seen flickering at night. Hikers reported a hooded figure standing at the entrance, vanishing as they approach. Was it a guardian of lost scripture, or a soul trapped in silence for centuries? The scrolls changed history, but perhaps they disturbed something older. Even secrets written in ink can bleed into the spirit world, and parchment, it seems, can still whisper. 44. The ghost of the oracle at Siwa. The Siwa oasis was home to an oracle that guided pharaohs and conquerors alike, but some say the oracle never left. A voice still echoes through the ancient chamber, soft, feminine, always in riddles. One explorer fled in tears, claiming the voice knew his deepest shame. You don't ask the oracle questions, she asks you, and not everyone survives the answer. 45. The phantom of the ziggurat of Rat. Night, beneath the rising ziggurat stairs, a shadow stands motionless, watching. Guards say it's always there when the stars align, but never shows up on camera. Some think it as the ghost of a priest who defied the gods and was buried alive within the bricks. Others say it as a warning from the old world. Don't climb what you don't understand, or maybe dust, but its gods remember, and so do its dead. For 6. The woman in black of Petra. Petra's stone-carved tombs glow red at sunset, and that's when she walks, a woman in black robes, face veiled, moving through the sick without touching the ground. Witnesses say she hums an ancient lullaby and disappears near the treasury's dark entrance. Some believe she's a queen buried without ceremony, still seeking her crown. Her presence is gentle until you follow her. Then, the shadows close and point for 7. The haunted corridor of the Parthenon. Even amid tourist crowds, one corridor in the Parthenon chills the skin. Cameras glitch, footsteps echo with no source, and a woman's voice calls out in ancient Greek. Some say it's a priestess silenced during a siege, her soul bound to her final prayer. She appears during thunderstorms, her face half lit by lightning. The gods may be gone, but their servants still linger, and they remember who defiled the temple. 48. The specter of ancient Mohenjo-Daro, the Indus Valley city mysteriously abandoned, holds more than ruins. Guards have seen a figure moving through the bathhouses, cloaked in fog that doesn't exist. It is said the people vanished in a single night, and this spirit may be the last to remember why. It walks with purpose, but never speaks. Some say it's looking for someone, or warning the next. And Mohenjo-Daro breathes with secrets. For 9. The mourner of Teotihuacan at the Avenue of the Dead in Teotihuacan, a pale figure kneels before the Pyramid of the Sun. She cries every night at the same time and vanishes as dawn breaks. Archaeologists believe she's a sacrificed mother torn from her child during rituals. Locals leave flowers where she appears, hoping to ease her grief, but the weeping never stops, not in the city of the gods. 50. The black-eyed ghosts of Baalbek. At the massive ruins of Baalbek, built with stones too large for any known technology, something waits. A boy with pitch-black eyes appears among the columns, always watching, never blinking. Those who meet his gaze report vivid nightmares for weeks, visions of ancient gods in stone, masks. Was he a chosen sacrifice, or something else entirely? He leaves no footprints, but you feel his presence for days, and Baalbek remains unsolved. These spirits, they don't belong to horror stories. They belong to history. They echo through ruins we still visit, temples we still photograph, stones we still touch. Maybe they never left, or maybe we're the ones trespassing. One thing is certain, the past isn't silent. It whispers in footsteps, shadows, and dreams. And if these 50 ghosts still wander the earth, how many more are waiting to be seen? Subscribe and return when you're ready for the next encounter.